So today we're going to talk about why Meet Kevin is wrong again. So we're going to do this and kind of call out Meet Kevin because I feel like he is not being a very good influence on the YouTube scene at the moment, and as someone that has a following, a subscriber base, that he has one of these, and it's getting quite common with a lot of these big YouTubers that sometimes they need to get called out for their actions, and I feel like this is once again calling Meet Kevin out for some of his actions, and he has to realise that he has some responsibility. He is one of the biggest stock market YouTubers out there, probably even the biggest stock market YouTuber out there, and the content that he's putting out and the kind of suggestions of what he's doing with his investing, not even investing, is basically turned into gambling, and he's putting these actions, his plans, what he thinks is a really good idea, and he's gone from a long-term mindset to basically gambling his whole portfolio on timing the market. And the worst thing about what has happened since I last made a video, which was a few weeks ago, saying that he was wrong to try and time the market and basically gambled, is now that he has come out a few weeks later and basically saying he was right and he has got everything perfectly right. He made the right decision. He perfectly timed the market, and it's anything but that. And this needs to get called out. It seems like it's getting more and more with a lot of the big finance YouTubers out there that they think they can get away with putting a load of garbage on the internet, putting bad investing principles out there on the internet, and this needs to get called out, and it just carries on. And you'd think that he would have learned this from what his reputation was in tatters a few weeks ago, that he cannot carry on. And same for a lot of big YouTubers out there, can carry on putting these bad investing principles out there, but it's still happening. So we need to call this out once again. So we're going to go through why Meet Kevin is wrong again. Just a quick history lesson if you are not aware on this. What happened is a few weeks ago, Meet Kevin decided to gamble on his portfolio, sell everything out and try time the market and buy back in.
Now, I've sold 99.15% of my stocks and my entire crypto portfolio.
Now, this is the one thing you don't do as a long-term investor. You do not gamble and try time the market. What is proven in history by the greatest investors out there is that you buy, you hold, and if it dips, you buy the dips on great companies and you will come out very good in that situation. And for someone that is responsible, was one of the biggest stock market YouTubers on the scene, to have a dip and then to throw that all out the window and try and preach about timing the market and gambling as a long-term investor is something you don't do. And when Meet Kevin made this decision, he did say that this was a gamble and it was high risk.
Now, in this case, though, I personally have chosen to trade these market catalysts.
But there has to be some responsibility out there for having such a big platform and saying these sort of things to investors. Now, during this time in the market, he did say the reason why he was timing the market is because he believed that this was going to be a massive dip in the stock market, and that is why he's exiting, because the prices are going to go so low down and then he can buy back in.
Because I think it's going to fall more. And I know that's really bearish and terrible to say, but I think we are at the start of a cycle rotation.
Now, shortly after claiming this was going to be a massive period of time with a dip, he then bought in a couple of weeks later, making a video saying that he had allocated, I can't remember exactly, around 50% of his portfolio back into the stock market.
What happened? This is a trade. So I've decided to start purchasing various different small caps, and the small caps that I'm buying, I'm going to list right now. I have bought some options. I bought a ton of lemonade this morning, 55% cash. I am going to keep that cash because if we end up getting a shock to the downside or not, I'm going to just end up being patient over the next 3 to 4 months, and I'll end up buying the dip on other stuff if things keep going down.
Now, after buying back into the stock market, he then exited the stock market again, proving once again, this is why you can't time the market, because with time the market, you might get it right once, you might get it right twice, but you probably won't get it right 3 times or more. And the thing with time the market is that you have to exit it at the right point and then re-enter back in the right point. And this is where Meet Kevin failed to do that. He failed to exit the market at the right time. He already exited when a lot of fear was already priced into the stock market. He then bought back in, which he thought was the bottom and wasn't the bottom, and then stocks continued to go lower.
We could be in for a big cyclical rotation where we go from the top of a cycle to the bottom of a cycle, and I just want to move from the top half to the bottom half in cash. I paper ended like a little weenie bitch because, well, quite frankly, I think shit's gonna hit the fan much worse. So right now I'm 95% cash, 4.99% gold.
Now, after already making a error of doing this, he then decided to sell out of the stocks, and then he claimed to have bought back in last week. And now, because he bought last week and we have been on a very good run, he has claimed now that he has beaten the market. And then during through that video, he has taken a dig at a few YouTubers that called him out for saying that he was basically, he was making the wrong decision. And then he's come out and said that, oh no, I did make the right decision. Look, here I go. Clearly through the last kind of few videos and what I've shown you, though, that he has clearly made an error time the market, as he had got it wrong previously and had now finally bought back in. But first of all, this is where we're at right now. This is this week. Within a week's time, 1 month's time, we might find out that this is not actually the bottom. We might go lower. So it's okay gloating now, but we generally don't know what the outcome is going to be right now. So even making this video right now, in a week's time, a month's time, a couple months' time, if we start downtrending lower, that already looks a bad decision. So already gloating when we don't know the outcome is first of all an error right now, even though it's already proven to be a wrong decision because the time in the market has been wrong twice already. Now, on the second time, he has claimed that he has timed the market absolutely perfect. But if you look from the video, the tweet from that video was when he said buy the dip on Twitter was from the 24th of February, I believe it was, which if you look at that point here, it actually did continue to go lower and then went up. So he didn't actually time the perfect bottom from that video here. So, and by that time that he said buy the dip on that tweet, there was a lot of stocks already flatlining in share price. So that has already proven that you can't time the bottom. And even right now, we don't even know where the outcome will be. So I guess it kind of comes down to this. Why has Meet Kevin done this? Why has Meet Kevin decided to make a video saying that, oh, look, I timed the market correctly, when it's evident that he hasn't? He's timed the market twice already incorrectly. He predicted there was going to be a massive dip, which did not happen. And by doing that, he's already locked in losses that he's taken and then done it a second time. Now he has to recoup all them losses rather than just holding them positions and buying and averaging down them positions and actually not clicking that sell button, not actually taking them losses, waiting for them to rebound. He actually has the losses to make up now. So why has he made all of these errors and then now come out and claimed that he's actually made the right decision? Well, it comes down to a few things. First of all, the reputation. His reputation was intact as a YouTuber. I'm sure it's why he turned his comments off for a period of time, is that he got a lot of heat from this. And there's a lot of people calling him paper hands Kevin. And that's what happened. He paper handed into this situation, taking a lot of losses. He's now had a lot of heat from that situation. And for someone that obviously claims to be a long-term investor and then to actually sell out on the dip and preaching to be a long-term investor, and then not following that through, he's going to get a lot of heat from that. So he needs to claim that he has come out from this situation a lot better. If he doesn't, then that's obviously going to affect him. If that affects him, he's going to obviously get a lot of negative press for a while. He's obviously going to have views probably suffer, and also from his other extra things, signing up for courses and all that. People aren't going to sell up for courses if he makes it look like he's made an error in his decision. So that's obviously a reason why. And that leads on to the second point, is that he needs to protect his income. Obviously, he has already done very well for himself in the retail estate, but when it comes into the YouTube side of it, selling courses, you can't sell courses, you won't get good YouTube videos if you're talking about stocks, talking about investing, and then you make a big gamble like that and it don't work out, because your income will suffer because there won't be as many people buying, sign up for your courses, and you won't be getting as many views either. So the reason why he has to make this look a positive, even though clearly from this video you can see that he's made the wrong decision and an error of judgment here, he has to make it in a positive way, because obviously he has to protect his reputation, and then that will obviously also protect some of income, because obviously from this side of the YouTube side of it and the courses, he's easily making over 1 million a year. So he does not want to lose that, even though he's probably got enough to comfortably live for the rest of his life. I'm sure there's a little bit of pride that he still wants to carry on making very good money going forward, so he does need to protect that. So they kind of tie in together. And the last point is why he will have done this is because generally fear. This is probably for him one of the biggest, as when you have the pressure of being one of the biggest stock market content YouTubers out there, and then it's a big massive dip like this, and you're obviously got millions in your account and you're seeing that dip down in his stock market portfolio account, and you're seeing that negativity, obviously there's a bigger sense of fear going out there. There's all these people talking to you about fear. You're seeing you probably more money than you've ever had going down. That fear is going to get to you. And for him personally, it's his first dip. He has always been a YouTuber talking about the housing market, and now since the CV times has rotated to making content talking about stocks. So for him, this is the only really the first time he's been a big YouTuber, been really seriously invested into the stock market, and he's his first tip going through it. And that's what happens, unfortunately. You've seen it with a lot of retail investors exiting the market. You've seen it with some of the biggest YouTubers out there. And for him, this is just a lack of experience. The first time going through a dip, all that pressure coming together, and he's just generally made a bad decision. And unfortunately, he's made a bad decision. Hopefully that hasn't affected a lot of his viewers, as this decision would have probably gone to a few of his viewers as well, and they might have made that decision. But he's made a bad decision, and that's obviously affected his reputation and will potentially affect his income. So he needs to protect that now and kind of make that in a positive light of, no, everything was okay, I made the right decision. And that's why he's doing it. So unfortunately, it seems like the fear had got to him. He has made a bad decision, and that has affected his reputation, and he is trying to respond to that now by hopefully trying to spin it in a positive light. But hopefully a few people are a little bit aware of this, and also confirms why you need to be making your own investing decisions. And anyone on YouTube, okay, you listen to them, hear their opinion, but you don't make decisions based on their decisions. You need to be making all your own choices when you're investing. And hopefully as well, this is a bit of a reality check for Meet Kevin, where he has a bit more responsibility, where he's not claiming to be a long-term investor and then producing gambling decisions and talking about them as a long-term investor. And hopefully he learns from this going forward, and hopefully you learn from this going forward as well, which is a key thing. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you could hit like button, if you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.